This video is going to walk you through the process of installing the full demo that's available for the WestEnd Drupal 7 responsive theme. Now that you've downloaded the source files, let's go ahead and get in there. Inside of the main directory, you're going to find a few other directories, but we're looking for full demo. You'll notice in the full demo that we have a SQL file available for you if you like to do it the fast way. That's what I'm going to show you first. And of course, inside of the Drupal 7 full files contains the theme and any additional assets that we use to build the actual theme itself. So what we need to do at this point is we need to copy these files into our server or wherever we're going to be making use of this Drupal installation. So go ahead and grab all of these files and copy them into your cPanel for your file manager, where public HTML or www. Whatever your host provides you to put your files online. In my particular case, I'm working locally and I've already copied these files over. And you can find that directly in here. As you can see, I'm using this theme demo directory here. Once we get those files copied over, what we want to do is open up settings.php. You can find that in sites, default, and settings.php. Once I open this file up, make my way down to the bottom, you'll see that I have something sort of set up for you already. What we need to do is we need to connect the database with the username and the password. So I'm going to go ahead and add mine. Mine is the dummy database. My username is going to be root. And I don't actually have to use a password. But in your particular case, when you go to create your database, you're going to need to put in your database name, your username, and that password. So I'm going to go ahead and create my database. And I'm going to call this dummy database. I'm going to go ahead and create my database. So my database is now completed. What that allows me to do is inside of phpMyAdmin, I can import directly into this database. So once I click on my dummy database here, I can go ahead and grab import. I'm going to choose the file, the SQL file, that's in the full demo, as you can see, theme001, full demo database. I'll go ahead and grab this. Once I've selected that file here, I'm going to go ahead and punch go. Now that this database has been populated, and I've already set up my settings.php file in here, I should be able to go and automatically connect to that website as the full demo. Let's go ahead and do that. Okay, everything's working perfectly. Have the full demo, all of the content, what you're seeing are all the dummy images that we have a part of the system. And everything's good to go. Let me just go ahead and check and make sure everything's working properly. Yep, looks good. Make sure that the columns are working properly. Everything looks good. Okay, at this point, in order to log into this system, we have credentials. And those credentials are going to be, let's see, admin, ABC, 123, and now I can log in as the administrator. And once you log in, make sure that you go to your actual system and change all of the particular information that we need to. For example, you need to change your email address. As you can see, this is a dummy email address. We can change the admin username and password. So go ahead and change all of that to make sure it's something a little bit more secure. So that's one way to install the demo installation. There's one other way that we can do this as well. And this is a little bit longer. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to the dummy database. I'm actually going to clear everything in here. Which means my dummy database is now completely empty. There's an alternative way to actually install this theme. Now again, just keep in mind, I already have my settings.php filled out. With this empty database, I now have the ability to install this in a different manner. And we can do this manually, and this takes a little bit longer. However, if you have a hard time importing your database directly, or the SQL file directly into the database, this is a good approach. So what I can do is I can come back to my actual installation here, and I can go ahead and run install.php. And what this is going to do is this is going to let me install a clean version of Drupal. But there's a couple more steps that we have to take in order to actually get the system ready and then restore a particular backup. And what I'm talking about while this is working and thinking, inside of the theme folders, if I go back to the top and go to the full demo, inside of Drupal 7 full, you'll see that we have this secure folder set up. Well, what this is this contains a backup for backup and migrate that allows us to actually restore the entire full demo. So what that means is we're going to have to enable back up and migrate, and then set our file settings once this gets completed. Now that that's done installing, we have a few things to fill out here. Now, of course, I wouldn't fill anything special out with this because we're going to adjust it anyway. Because basically what's going to happen is everything that we're punching in here right now is going to be reset as soon as we hit restore. I'm going to go ahead and save and continue. Now that that's complete, let's go ahead and visit our new site. The first thing that we need to do is we need to go to modules. So I'm going to go ahead and select modules up here. I'm going to hit Control F and look for backup and migrate, which is right here. I'm going to go ahead and enable this. Save configuration. Once backup and migrate is enabled, the next thing that we need to do is we need to configure our file system. One of the main reasons why we're configuring the file system is we're going to connect them with this folder in here, Secure, to give backup and migrate access to that restore option. So what I'm going to do is in configuration, I'm going to come down to media, I'm going to set the file system up here. In the private file path, I'm going to set this to secure. In the temp directory, temporary directory, I'm going to set this to TMP and hit save. And at this point, what I can do is I can go ahead and go back to configuration, backup and migrate, save backups, and you'll see that we have a nice little note for you in this particular backup, allowing you to go ahead and hit the restore button now. So I'm going to go ahead and hit restore and then confirm the restore. Now that the restore is complete, let's go ahead and close this overlay and see what occurs. In usual form, it's always good to kind of flush the cache after doing a restore like that, so we're just going to go ahead and flush all caches here. Let's go ahead and check on a few things here. Just going to make sure the columns and the template or the tpl.php files are taking shape. Everything looks good here. One last thing, if you happen to log yourself out accidentally without changing your credentials, remember your username and password is admin. Password is abc123. So make sure that you go ahead and change all of those credentials to give it something a little more secure. In addition to that, one thing to kind of remember is when we're creating these demo themes, a lot of things get put in place. So for example, if I go into configuration and then system and then site information, these emails need to be updated as well. So make sure you go ahead and plug in all the appropriate stuff, and then of course, change everything in here. Also, one of the things you could probably do to fix that is inside of the database. So if I go back to dummy database, now that it's populated, and go into users. Now you don't have to do this. It's just one of those extra things to make sure that your users and everything's all set up. Now there's two different fields in here that get filled out with your actual email. If you change one on the system, this will update, but this one's always going to remain the same. For example, if I go back over here to the right, this one won't actually change when you update it through the system. So you could manually go into the database and do that as well. All right, that's it.